Hey there guys, this is Sam
And Justin.
at the Survival Review, and today we're going to be doing some another review of Skyfall, but with spoilers. This one has spoilers.
If you haven't seen Skyfall, don't watch this video.
Do not.
Don't watch this. Even if you don't like James Bond, don't watch this video. See Skyfall.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like James Bond.
If you don't like James Bond, you'll start to like James Bond if you see this movie.
Yeah, see, that's a casino. But, Casino Royale.
Yeah.
So, anyway, on to the spoiler-filled video.
Spoiler-filled video.
So what do you want to start with first?
There's a lot.
M dies.
Yeah, M dies. That's one thing. That was quick. That doesn't happen till kind of late in the movie, but, yeah.
We have to start it out big here.
Alright, so...
I can see one guy just watches the video. They won't start with spoilers right away. I'll watch the first minute or two.
M dies. He's like, oh, poop. So, oh god, my foot hurts.
So, in the movie...
In the movie...
called Skyfall.
Yes. And you might be wondering what that's all about. What does Skyfall mean? Skyfall was actually the name of, like, an orphanage slash house.
No, I think it was actually his house.
It was his house?
Yeah, James Bond's, like, childhood home that he, they used to live at with his parents before they got killed and he became an orphan and then joined MI6. Mm-hmm. Which I love that, because I love going back to backstory with, like, Bond.
Yeah.
That's the best. I guess what makes Casino Royale so interesting is the fact that it was Bond's first mission.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually added to it. Just wondering, did you know, I was wondering, during the one guy, that old guy who was living there, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Were you worried that he was going to die at all during the movie?
Oh, I was.
I didn't know.
I liked him.
There's this other guy, like, I don't know, he's like a caretaker of the house, and like, I don't know.
He was a nice guy.
He was cool, and I was afraid, because he was actually doing stuff, too. He was, like, shooting the bad guys, and I was like, no, he might get shot.
Yeah.
But
Cool guy. And
it's just a spoiler review, we can say that he lived.
Yeah,
And
he lived.
that was awesome.
M died.
Let's see. Now, what do you think of the ending? How they how not the climax, but the actual ending, where they went kind of back to the classic Bond.
Yeah.
Because I know some people might not like, because they were interested in seeing this real kind of rebooted, dark and gritty Bond, and we've kind of gone back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would have worked if MGM never went bankrupt and they were able to make at least one movie in between for this to be the fourth one, and then have Skyfall be the fourth one. So we have one that's kind of with Bond, who's still kind of young, because now he's already experienced, and you have to do that because Daniel Craig's getting older.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it feel weird, because it's only the third Bond film of his.
Exactly.
It would have been less weird if he had made one in 2010, which they were originally going to do.
And it's funny because didn't you say it takes place 6 years after Casino?
Yeah.
It's been 6 years since Casino, so makes sense.
And Quantum, because Quantum takes place right after.
Yeah, but
so
we can just ignore that. And
I wouldn't mind doing that. So the ending has what's the actor's name? He becomes the new M.
Yeah.
And the Bond girl Eve, who at the beginning shoots him, ends up during the whole rest of the movie, for the most part, she stays in the office and stuff like that. And at the end, you find out her last name is Moneypenny.
Eve Moneypenny.
So at the end, it has a real has a real classic Bond.
Yeah.
I love
there are other references to classic Bond.
Yeah, but I love this ending because it felt so classic. You had the Bond music. You had Bond walking into the secretary office, talking to Moneypenny. Then he walks into M's office, gets the folder, the file, and the mission, and then something that I didn't think I'd be happy they did. Then we cut to the gun barrel, and it's just so awesome.
It was very cool.
I loved that because
it was very, very, very.
It just
well
felt.
done.
It just.
And of course, there are a lot of other references to.
Yeah, there was actually
Bonds.
one.
The car, of course.
Yeah, the Aston Martin.
They get
from
into
Goldfinger comes back, which is the best.
They get into a.
Everybody cheered when that happened.
Yeah, everybody in the theater was cheering, and they get into a M and Bond get into what is it? A storage container?
Yeah, like a storage unit. Yeah.
And they get in there, and he's like, we got to get out of this car because it's got a tracking device.
Yeah, we got to be more conspicuous.
And we got to be more conspicuous. And then she looks at the Aston Martin. Oh, this is inconspicuous, right? And
then you have the
ejector
seat.
She's complaining inside of the car. And he's like, "You want to keep complaining?" And
he
he
threatens
the ejector. She's like, "Okay, go ahead and eject me."
Yeah, that was.
It was funny. It's good, and it wasn't like references that are just shoved down your throat. They're just funny
Die
little...
like Die Another Day, where this kind of just like, get it? This thing was another Bond movie.
Yeah. This was actually well done and an entertaining... some entertaining references.
Yeah, and one thing was actually a really kind of like Roger Moore-ish moment. I forgot what it was when they're in that like casino in Hong Kong and he falls into that pit. Like I don't know what animal that was.
Komodo dragon.
Yeah, Komodo dragon. And at the end, how he gets out, he jumps on the dragon and jumps out.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's a perfect like Roger Moore moment. Like
one thing I did notice in that scene, why didn't he get his gun back?
That's true.
He's an idiot. The guy takes his gun. Q specifically says this is a valuable gun. Bring it back in one piece. The guy drops the gun. It's there. It would take him half a second to reach down and grab it, but he just left it there.
But the scene is a perfect almost...
Yeah.
It could be like a homage to Live and Let Die, where Bond's stuck on that little island with all the alligators around him.
Yeah.
And they all line up in a line. He runs and jumps across them and walks across them. It's kind of like that. It's a great kind of Roger Moore moment that isn't like crazy, but like it works. Because it was awesome.
It was cool. And,
awesome. And
yeah, I really enjoyed that scene.
I did too. I enjoyed every scene.
There was not a single part that I disliked in this movie.
Like the whole ending at the
house at Skyfall
was awesome.
As I've described it, it's like a badass Home Alone.
Yes.
They put one thing that I thought was really cool is they put some shotgun shells and they put something like to be the primer underneath the woodwork, and then so that way when they step on the piece of wood, it would set off the bullets and shoot the guy who stood on it, and that was really cool.
That was awesome.
And Em puts some light bulbs. She breaks the light bulbs and puts the filament inside of some shotgun shells by cutting off the top of it, and then nails all around it to make them like shrapnel bombs.
Yeah.
So she's in the next room. She flips the switch, and all those guys just get wrecked by the things.
One of the things
awesome.
people mention, which I agree, like there are two Bond girls in this movie, and they really don't do much. Mm-hmm. And Em is really the true Bond girl in this film. Like, I know it sounds weird, but technically she is, because she is such an important character in this story.
She is.
She's the main person that the main bad guy's going after, and she's like the main focus of the story. I mean, Bond doesn't sleep with her. That'd be weird, but but she is technically the real.
That would be an incredibly weird plot twist.
That's just like Roger Moore in the Waiter.
Oh,
that's like the Roger Moore in the Waiter movies when he's like 50-something-year-old and he's like banging all these young girls. And it's like that just doesn't seem right. But she is saying like she's such a main part in the story, and obviously because they're building up to her death. You know.
Yes, and the other Bond girls are of course Moneypenny.
Yes. And
this other girl who I don't remember her name, but she was like this kidnapped girl, and she played the part pretty well.
Yeah. There wasn't much to the part, but she was well acted. She was well acted.
And I guess you could also sort of say there was the girl when he was in like the tropical place, but that was
for
like
2 seconds.
For 2 seconds.
And he was like, oh.
Just to show how much of an awesome guy Bond is.
Yeah, and he's like,
he goes to a bar, doesn't say anything to her, and just leaves.
Yeah. That was the best where he's like, where he's drinking, he has the like scorpion on his hand.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, well, he's supposed to be dead. He's enjoying his death, enjoying what he can do when he doesn't have to do his missions. So he's just out at bars drinking with scorpions on his hand, making some money on bets and stuff.
Also, another thing I really like the Q in this movie.
Oh yeah,
like I was actually really excited.
Again.
Yes.
Apparently, he looks like me.
I was really
skeptical.
See it. I was really skeptical because in the old series, Q was always like the father figure, like the older brother, almost like of James Bond.
Yeah, and in this, he's definitely played off as a younger,
yes. Like in the old Bond movies, he's always like, he's always like grow up, 007 and stuff like that. Where in this one, he's like in his 20s. So I was skeptical.
Like Bond is specifically making jokes like you have acne.
Yes, that was good. That was good because like I was skeptical because I'm like that doesn't really fit the qualities of Q.
Yeah.
But it works because they have this great scene where they're in like a art museum and they're looking at a painting. It's great conversation, really great dialogue.
It was fantastic. And that was a really cool way to introduce Q into it.
Into the new kind of like series, kind of.
This movie is almost like a reboot, in a way.
Well, technically, we already have Skyfall. This is the one that like, if they were trying to make a more commercial Bond movie like Christina, this is what they would have done. They would have like introduced Q and everything right away. Yeah. Instead of do this own really, really crazy dark story. This would have been if they were trying to like kind of play it safe and do a typical Bond movie as a reboot. This is what they would have done. Yeah. Now the movie doesn't play it safe. I'm not saying that, but like these are the elements they would have done right away if they were doing rebooting. Yeah. They would have introduced Moneypenny and everything, introduced a new everything just right away, and it all works well.
Yeah, and what else is there?
The gun barrel which if you've seen any of my other videos, like I complained about the Quantum one. I am one of those people that I'm not gonna hate a movie because of it. I get really mad. I like having the gun barrel at the beginning, you know.
But I think they definitely pulled it off really well.
They pulled it off in
one.
Casino, even though it was still in the beginning, but they pulled it off because it's part of the story that was so cool. One of the best. Quantum, I felt that I understand I thought what they were trying to get at, which is what they got at with here, was they're like, oh, this is the end of the dark Bond story. We're gonna do a little more typical Bond movies,
Mm-hmm.
which that idea really plays in here. And now watching Skyfall, I look back in Quantum, it just feels like a rushed job.
Yeah.
Oh, and but Quantum one, it was just so quick.
Yeah.
And the gun barrel, like, this is me being picky. The gun barrel wasn't really designed too well. It just kind of felt cheap. And it just felt quick Bond. One thing that was better about the Quantum gun barrel, I like when he turned and shot. It was more like he was turning and shooting. In the Skyfall one, he was really posing. You can tell. He was really like, you know what I mean, when he posed.
Yeah.
And that looked a little off, but he was slower. Not as slow, but he was still slower, and the gun barrel looked nice, and it was better.
In my opinion, the best gun barrel will always be in GoldenEye 007 for the N64. That will never be beat. I know I hate Pierce Brosnan, but his 64-bit counterpart will live in my heart.
And going
forever.
back to the worst gun barrel, Die Another Day has to have. No, it does. When he shoots, it's a CGI bullet that goes into the screen.
Oh Jesus!
Everything you can always, if you think about something that's bad, just bring it back to Die Another Day.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So, getting back on what I said in the review, that the plot points are similar to Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole middle part where the villain gets kidnapped. I mean, not kidnapped, sorry. He gets caught and is there, and he gets caught on purpose, and he has a whole plan, and he gets out right away.
Yeah.
Just like
Everything
Joker.
is very planned out.
Just like
very...
Joker getting caught and arrested in Dark Knight, and then all of a sudden he also has a plan with the phone bomb. He gets out. It's exactly like that, where it's just like, they even say that, he planned to get caught. And like, didn't they say that line in Dark Knight too?
Yeah.
I don't care, but like, yeah, I found that
It was
concept.
very well done.
Yeah, because, everything. The one cool, when the train crashed through, when he...
Oh, that was very cool.
The best is that it was a real train. That was
They used a real train?
Yeah, it wasn't CG.
That's cool.
I know. That was great. One of the best Bond villains.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that many Bond movies, but, again, mentioning it again, when I saw No Country for Old Men, I quite literally said that guy would make an awesome Bond villain.
Yeah.
And he did.
And the Daniel Craig films were kind of lacking a great villain. Well, Chief and Samara was pretty good, but he wasn't, like, great.
But this one...
The one in Quantum, do you remember the one in Quantum? No.
I don't remember much about Quantum at all.
I know about it, but that villain is he's just a bland villain. This one is a really great villain that you just like, whoa. And
the only thing I'll ever remember about this Casino villain is just he cries blood. And that was cool. But that's it. This guy is developed, and he's been compared to Heath Ledger in Dark Knight. Just that creepiness, having fun with being evil.
There's a great scene in his introduction where it's just one shot of him just walking up to Bond, just tied down with this really great monologue about this about these rats and stuff like that. That was great.
Yeah.
That just one monologue.
And another thing, even when they first start talking about the character, when Bond talks to this other Bond girl, he says, "I want to talk to your employer," and she turns white. She is just so frightened just thinking about him that it prepares you. This guy's really screwed up. This guy's really evil, and he is.
He is.
And that brings you to the part where she dies, where Bond has to shoot a glass of scotch off of her head.
And from earlier in the movie, he's since being like killed and everything. He's not really like well trained. Like he failed the test and everything. And he was shooting the target and he kept missing.
His arm is still very shaky.
He got shot twice. And so there's a scene where he's like really nervous trying to shoot, and you are in suspense because you're like, you know he's a bad shot. Yeah. This was Bond from Casino Royale. He would have just been like, boom, done. But this one was just like, he didn't. That was intense. That was awesome.
And he misses, and then the second after, Silver says, "My turn." He shoots her.
Boom. Yeah. That was. Well, I think what I meant by like the suspense at the end.
Oh, and one of the best lines came right after that. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Waste of a good glass of scotch, and then he kills all of them.
Yeah, that was great. And then one thing what I meant by I was in suspense at the end, because I had actually read rumors that M might be dying in this one, And so all the build up with like Silver whatever getting into like the chapel at the end, walking out like with Bond not there. I was just like, is he gonna kill her now? There's a scene where he grabs her, he puts the gun to her head and puts his head up to his, like saying, "Kill us both." And I was in suspense. That whole thing was like, is this how it's gonna happen?
See me, I had no idea that M was gonna die because I am not like always on the internet, so I tend to stay away from all these little spoilers.
I try not to see the spoilers, but they always end up popping up. So.
Yeah.
But I was just like, is this how it's gonna happen? There's just such a great intense scene, because you're like Bond is not there to rescue him, you know. Bond was not to rescue him. They're just all by themselves and the other guy, and that was just intense. That was like probably the most intense thing. I think my leg was shaking while watching that scene. It's like that was insane. Like great ending. Much more like I said, it's not a big overblown ending. It's still big, you know, with the helicopter shooting at the place.
Yeah. And the bad guy, I can't stress enough how good he is.
Yes.
He's this actor. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he is fantastic at playing evil characters.
Yes,
I've mentioned it a million times. No Country for Old Men. Watch it if you haven't seen it. It's just his performance is what makes it worth it, and that's the same for this. It really, it just if it weren't him, it wouldn't have been the same.
No, it
movie.
would not have been the same. Unless they got like Heath Ledger. If he was still alive.
But
you know, that's the only way it could almost be as good. But that was he's the best. Like whenever he's on screen, it's like here we go.
yeah.
You know, for something good. There's that one crazy scene which, for the most part, was good. I felt some of the CGI was a little bit dodgy, where the whole cyanide scene.
Yeah,
he
that
bit down
was.
on the cyanide pill, but it didn't like kill him, but it messed with his mouth. And he pulled out this like ton
He
of fake
pulled out
teeth,
these fake teeth.
but it had
like,
more stuff, metal parts to it, that because his face was all like sunken in and stuff.
and it was.
It was creepy looking. It was creepy. It looked a little bit fake, kind of like some of the CGI.
You know,
bit,
a little, but it was definitely pulled off
yeah,
well.
it was well. And it was just I expected to see his teeth broken, like okay, but he pulled off everything and the whole face just like sunken. That was creepy.
Yeah.
That was really good. I read the audience was just like, I'll watch like I was like, okay.
His little 10-year-old brother or cousin, sorry.
Just like, hey, that's cool, weird.
It was creepy, but
they really blew.
they blew it out of the park with this one. It was fantastic.
It's definitely I don't know. I think it's one of my top 2 favorite movies of the year.
I'd say it's up there.
I don't know because I also really like Dark Knight Rises.
And I also really like The Gray.
Yeah, The Gray is on my top 5, but that's in the start from the time. But I really think Skyfall is up there on like I think might be around my top 2.
Yeah.
It's really growing on me, and I'm just slowly loving. Not slowly. When I saw it, I loved it. I love this movie.
I prefer it to Casino Royale. I'd say at the moment, and it's one of my favorite Bond films.
Yes, it is. No doubt about it.
Yeah. It's just
so. It can be hard to compare them because of the fact that like the old Bond films never really like tried to have a really big focused story. You know, they tried to have a cool like story and then try to just have a fun movie. Whereas the Daniel Craig ones try to really develop the characters and always develop. And
they develop the characters very well.
So it's always kind of weird to like compare this to an older one, which older ones were made for like a different standard.
The thing is, you don't really see Bond cry much in the movies.
Yeah.
But when M dies, that was emotional.
Yeah, so that was emotional because she was M all the way from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So like they actually kept her even though they rebooted the whole franchise and they like got rid of everything. Like they actually had an actor, John Cleese. He was in like Monty Python and stuff like that.
I know him.
He actually had him cast as the new Q in Die Another Day.
Really?
And he voiced that Q in the video game, Everything or Nothing. Okay, so he was always he was gonna be the next Q and all. He did the voice in the James Bond CNET game too, so he was all gonna be Q. But they rebooted it.
John Cleese as Q.
He was all right.
That's interesting.
He was all right, but
I love Monty Python.
But then they rebooted everything and they got rid of him. So it's cool that they kept her back. You know what I mean? They never they weren't just like, oh wait, it's a reboot, get out of here. No, they kept her on. And she's great as M. She's probably one of the best M's. So
yeah,
probably because again she's actually only really developed M, but
the way they've developed the characters in this one, I'm sure the new M will be developed.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Well
too. He'll be a pretty good M. I like him. There's actually one good scene. Another one like Dark Knight where they have other movies probably done this, but it's more prominent in Dark Knight where they have all like cuts and it's all really like 2 scenes combined, like all cutting, like really build up and stuff.
Simultaneous.
Yeah, and it's all like building up to something. That was the whole scene where Silver gets out.
Yeah,
And he's going
M
after
M
M.
is giving the speech at
And she's
a
out hearing
courtroom.
Yeah.
That's another line I liked in the movie. That guy saying to the woman who was just, this woman was downing on M the whole time. This is all your fault. All this was your. And then this guy says, for the sake of variety, maybe we could let the defendant speak.
Yeah.
And he just totally burned this lady in front of.
Yeah. So
I even heard a person in the audience go, "Oh snap!" It was funny.
This whole scene is like. Is M talking while her like bodyguard or whatever like assistant is getting the email saying get her out of there.
Yeah.
While Bond is chasing the bad guy trying to get to there, and it's such an intense scene. It ends really great, pretty like dramatic like shootout.
Absolutely.
Pretty like realistic and cool shootout.
It was very cool.
Which was like great. This movie's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Definitely
just go watch the movie.
Like I said, the hardest.
We've told you if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this video. But if you're one of those jerks that just watches videos when we tell you not to, which doesn't happen that often,
just see it.
It's
gonna be so hard to make another one.
It's gonna they'll
really
make another one. I'm sure it'll
in
be
2
okay,
years.
but I doubt they'll top this.
Yeah. And that's the problem. That was one of the things.
I mean, the director is fantastic,
Yeah.
Sam Mendes.
That's one of the scheduled things for like with Quantum, and you know, what I mean, they were just like, Casino Royale was so great. How are they gonna top that and like do something good?
Let's make a crappy one.
Yeah, well, that actually isn't completely their fault because there was like a writer's strike going on and stuff at the time. So like that happened. That didn't work out. So I hope like we don't get another like Quantum.
Yeah.
Please don't have there be a writer's strike while they're writing the new one. Please. Please, like
writers, just do your jobs.
I mean, once the script's written and fine for the new Bond movie, then go on a strike.
Yeah,
it's all right. Just make sure that's good, cause that's the new Bond will be out in 2014, in 2 years. That's already planned. Cause Bond movies usually always come out 2 years after another, except for a 4-year gap between Quantum and Skyfall, and the 6-year gap between License to Kill and Goldeneye. Besides that, like they're always every 2 years, so they're already planning Bond 24, which I'm happy because like. I want to see more Daniel Craig, and he is starting to get a little bit old. Like I was watching some scenes from Casino Royale today, and he looks really young compared to now. So I can get it before he starts to turn into Roger Moore and get like, right? Why?
And he's got this stubble beard the whole time. It's gray, and it just makes you feel like Bond's getting up there. Yeah. I mean, he's not
they
old.
They do play with that a little bit, which is good. Like instead of just completely ignoring it.
It's well done. Awesome movie.
I know.
Altogether incredible.
I know. Like I'm planning on seeing this movie again during like Christmas break with my
I was talking with my mom. We were thinking about seeing it again tonight. We just saw the movie yesterday, and we're considering.
I wanted to see it again. I said I've already planned on seeing it again in Christmas break when my aunt comes home for Christmas because she's a Bond fan. I told her I'll see it with her. I wouldn't wait. I wanted to see it right away. But I seriously wouldn't mind seeing it at least one more time.
I wouldn't mind seeing it a few more times.
Yeah, but since I already know I'm going to be seeing it again in December, I wouldn't mind seeing it at least 1 or 2 more times before I see it again. Because this is an awesome movie. Just
altogether incredible. So we're kind of ranting a little too long here now. We don't want to.
Skyfall.
It is Skyfall, but we can't have another half-hour long video like Dark Knight Rises. So.
Yeah.
So this is Sam.
And Justin.
At the Survival Review.
Talk to you guys later.
Talk to you guys later.